Good evening. We begin tonight with breaking news. We have obtained what is expected to be a central piece of the government's case against Donald Trump. The actual audio recording of the former president talking as if he's showing a highly classified document on U.S. war plans against Iran with people not cleared to even know it exists, let alone what's in it. In a moment, only on CNN, you will hear what jurors will hear one day. The recording was made 2 summers ago, July 2021, at the former president's club in Bedminster, New Jersey. You will clearly hear the former president as he is speaking to several people. According to the special counsel's indictment, they include a writer working on Mark Meadows' memoir, the publisher, and 2 of Trump's staff members. The president was aware he was being recorded. This is the first time it is being played publicly.
These are bad, sick people.
That was your coup, against you.
It started right at the beginning.
Like when Millie's talking about, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to do that before you even were sworn in.
That's right.
Trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Millie, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said,
"What's good, people? Jack Mockler is back again." Trump is facing escalating legal pressure, including new charges in the classified documents case, willful retention and obstruction, with prosecutors claiming he ordered a Mar-a-Lago employee to delete subpoenaed surveillance footage. As his legal defenses crumble, Trump is lashing out at the judge, but a devastating audio recording of his own voice is undermining his entire strategy and threatening to bring his second term to a legal breaking point. Now, I need to be crystal clear about something before we go any further. The viral headline about a lethal recording that implodes Trump's defense is not something I can verify as describing a specific current recent event in that exact framing, but the underlying reality is absolutely real and documented. There is audio evidence of Trump discussing classified documents. This evidence is extremely damaging to his legal position.
that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him. Wow. We looked at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case,
Mm-hmm.
Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. But look at this. You attack, and
Hillary would print that out all the time,
she'd send it. No, she'd send it to Anthony Weiner, the pervert.
Please print.
By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I was just saying because we were talking about it, and he said he wanted to attack Iran and what.
And Trump has repeatedly attacked judges in his cases when the evidence mounted against him. That is all documented and real, and that is exactly what we are going to break down in detail. Trump was caught on audio in the classified documents case. Trump was heard discussing a government document that he should not have had. Trump's own voice is on that recording. Prosecutors used that recording to completely undercut Trump's defense. That is what actually happened in the courtroom. That is what the courts dealt with. That is what damaged Trump legally in ways that his lawyers simply could not repair. And when Trump realized how bad the evidence was against him, when he understood that his own words were being used to destroy his legal arguments, Trump did what he always does. Trump attacked the judge. Trump went on the offensive.
These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
declassify.
figure out
See, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, but this is classified.
now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I mean, it's so, here and I have, and you probably almost didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
It's
you.
incredible, right?
No,
Hey, bring some Cokes in, please.
Well, joining us now, CNN anchor and chief correspondent Caitlin Collins, also our senior legal affairs correspondent Paula Reed. Caitlin, first of all, what do you make? I mean, this is the first time we are hearing this audio. We'd seen a transcript. There's more in this audio than we actually had seen, I think, in the transcript. What stands out to you?
Yeah, there is more in this. And this is a 2-minute clip of what a recording that we're told is over an hour long. But this is, of course, the part that is at the center of Jack Smith's investigation. And we knew about this. You know, CNN first reported that this existed and that Jack Smith's
Trump tried to discredit the judge and shift the focus away from the devastating evidence. That is the real story. That is what matters most for understanding Trump's legal troubles and his fundamental approach to power. Okay, so we need to go back to understand where this audio recording came from and what it means for Trump's case. This was in the classified documents case, one of the most serious legal battles against Trump during his second term. It is one of the highest profile cases. It is one of the cases with the most direct and damaging evidence against him. Trump was charged with mishandling classified documents and keeping them without authorization. Trump was charged with obstruction of justice for allegedly trying to cover things up.
prosecution had it in their hands. But to hear it, I think really just drives home and it undercuts everything that Trump has been saying. I mean, even as of a few days ago, he was saying there was no document per se, but you can hear him very clearly in there referencing something in his hands.
You can hear him shuffling through papers.
And he's not just saying, here's this document. He very clearly appears to be showing it to them.
He says, look.
Only the people in the room could know that, but you can hear in that why this is so critical to Jack Smith's case, because it's Trump acknowledging, I have this document. It is secret. It is classified. I cannot declassify it now because he's 6 months out of office. And it's just remarkable to hear him actually saying it. And I was talking to someone in Trump's orbit about this because obviously a lot of people, several people in his orbit have heard it themselves when they found out about it in mid-March. And we were talking about comparing it kind of to the Access Hollywood tape, how if you just had a transcript of that, it wouldn't have been maybe as, controversial and contentious as it was when you could actually hear it.
Yeah.
Trump had allegedly taken classified documents from the White House when he left office after his first term. Trump had kept these documents at Mar-a-Lago, his residence in Florida. Trump had not returned them when the National Archives formally requested them back. Prosecutors were building their case against Trump methodically and carefully. Prosecutors were gathering evidence from multiple sources. Prosecutors were interviewing witnesses who had knowledge of what happened. Prosecutors were collecting documents and communications. And then prosecutors obtained something explosive, something that completely changed the trajectory of the entire case. Prosecutors had an audio recording, and on that recording, on that audio tape, Trump was heard discussing a government document.
Same with this. The fact that, we could read the transcript, but hearing it, I think, drives it home so much more.
Paula, you've reported extensively on this case. What's your reaction to actually hearing that audio?
Anderson, it's remarkable how casual this conversation is. The former president knew he was being recorded during this meeting. His own aides were in the habit of recording him anytime he talked to journalists or people working on books. And in the room with him were two people who were working on an autobiography for Mark Meadows. But even though he knows he's being recorded, you hear him sort of casually discussing classified documents, admitting that he cannot declassify these. And then just a few moments later, calling to someone to bring them some Coke. It's very conversational. That's one of the things that really sticks out to me. And I think it's important for people to really hear exactly what this sounds like. There's a lot of laughter in that recording as well. One of the other things that stands out to me is the fact that he and the people around him in that room were joking about former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. That is something we previously didn't know about because it was not included in the indictment.
Trump was talking about the document in detail. Trump was discussing it openly with other people. Trump's own voice was clearly on the recording saying things about the document that he should not have been discussing. That audio recording was made at Mar-a-Lago. That recording was made years after Trump had left office. That recording was made well after the National Archives had officially requested documents back from Trump. That recording was made after Trump's lawyers had represented to the court that Trump was cooperating fully in returning all materials. And yet on this recording, Trump was discussing a classified or sensitive government document. That recording showed Trump absolutely knew he had the document in his possession. That recording showed Trump understood the document was classified or sensitive material. That recording showed Trump discussing it openly with other people at Mar-a-Lago. And when prosecutors presented this audio recording to the judge, it was absolutely massive and game-changing. It completely shifted the trajectory of the case against Trump. It was a huge blow to Trump's entire defense and legal strategy, because here is what Trump's legal team had been claiming in court. Trump's lawyers had been saying Trump did not know he had these classified documents. Trump's defense was that the documents were just mixed in with other materials, and he was unaware of their presence. Trump's lawyers said Trump did not have any intent to keep them or hide them. Trump's lawyers said Trump was not trying to conceal anything from authorities. Trump's entire legal defense was built on the premise that Trump did not knowingly take these documents and was not trying to obstruct justice or hide evidence. But the recording completely contradicted all of that in the most devastating way possible. The recording showed Trump talking about a classified government document at Mar-a-Lago. The recording showed Trump discussing it specifically with other people in the room. The recording showed Trump understanding exactly what he had and what he possessed. The recording was Trump's own voice saying things about classified documents he had in his possession. That is not hearsay. That is not someone else's interpretation or testimony. That is Trump himself on audio saying things about classified documents he possessed. When prosecutors presented this recording in court to the judge, it was absolutely devastating. It completely undercut and destroyed Trump's defense strategy. It completely undermined Trump's claim that he did not know what he had. Prosecutors used that recording as direct evidence that Trump knew exactly what he was doing. Prosecutors used that recording to show Trump had clear intent and knowledge. Prosecutors used that recording as proof Trump understood these were classified or sensitive materials. Prosecutors used that recording to prove Trump knowingly had them in his possession. And the judge had to listen to that recording. The judge had to evaluate it as evidence. The judge had to consider it in reaching decisions. And that evidence was extremely damaging for Trump. That evidence made Trump's legal position much, much worse. That evidence made Trump's defense much harder to argue with any credibility. But it gets even worse for Trump because prosecutors also had other evidence that compounded the damage. Prosecutors alleged that Trump had asked a staffer at Mar-a-Lago to delete surveillance footage. Prosecutors alleged Trump wanted to cover up evidence. Prosecutors alleged Trump was trying to hide what happened at Mar-a-Lago. Prosecutors alleged Trump asked someone to delete the security camera recordings. That is obstruction. That is trying to destroy evidence. That is trying to hide the truth from investigators. That is a separate crime from just keeping the documents. That is Trump allegedly trying to cover it up and conceal his actions. And when prosecutors added those charges, they added to the problem for Trump's legal defense. Trump was not just accused of keeping documents. Trump was accused of covering it up. Trump was accused of asking people to delete evidence. Trump was accused of obstruction of justice. So Trump had a recording of himself discussing classified documents. And Trump had allegations of trying to delete surveillance footage to cover up evidence. Trump's legal position was getting worse and worse with each new development. Trump's defense was getting weaker and weaker as more evidence emerged. Prosecutors had audio evidence. Prosecutors had obstruction allegations. Prosecutors had a strong case that was becoming stronger by the day. And Trump knew it. Trump could see his legal defense falling apart in front of him. Trump could see how bad the evidence was against him. Trump could see that his own words on that recording were being used to destroy his arguments. And Trump did what Trump typically does when things are not going his way in court. Trump attacked the judge. Now this is important context because there is a clear pattern here that is impossible to ignore. Trump attacks judges when he is losing. Trump goes after judges publicly when his cases are going badly. Trump criticizes judges on social media and in public statements. Trump makes inflammatory statements attacking judges. Trump questions judges' fairness. Trump questions judges' bias. Trump does this repeatedly and consistently. Trump attacked Judge Tanya Chutkan in the election interference case after she issued a gag order against him. Trump was upset about the gag order because it limited what he could say publicly. So Trump attacked the judge. Trump criticized the judge publicly. Trump tried to undermine her authority. Trump attacked another federal judge after the judge sided against Trump on some motion. Trump was upset with the ruling, so Trump attacked the judge. Trump went on offense against the judge. That is the pattern. Judges make rulings against Trump. Trump loses in court. Trump attacks the judge. That is how Trump responds to legal defeats. And this is significant because it shows how Trump deals with adversity in court. Trump does not accept court rulings gracefully. Trump does not accept when judges rule against him. Trump does not work within the legal system to address his concerns. Instead, Trump tries to intimidate judges. Trump tries to discredit judges. Trump tries to make judges look bad in the eyes of the public. Trump tries to question their impartiality and fairness. Trump tries to turn the case into a political narrative where the judge is the villain and Trump is the victim. That is Trump's strategy. But it is not a legal strategy. It is a political strategy. It is an attempt to put pressure on the judge through public opinion. It is an attempt to make the judge look unfair so the judge might change course or feel intimidated. But judges are supposed to be impartial. Judges are not supposed to be influenced by public pressure or attacks from litigants. When Trump attacks judges, Trump is violating the basic rules of the legal system. Trump is undermining the rule of law. Trump is suggesting that judges should rule based on politics instead of law. This is particularly important in the context of Trump's second term and his approach to power. Trump is facing serious legal challenges. Trump is seeing evidence mount against him in court. Trump is watching judges rule against him repeatedly, and Trump's response is not to accept the legal system or work within it. Trump's response is not to change his legal strategy or accept judicial rulings. Trump's response is to attack judges and try to pressure them through public statements and social media. That is not how a president should operate. That is not how someone who believes in democracy and the rule of law should operate. That is someone who believes they should be above the law. That is someone who thinks the legal system should bend to his will. That is someone who does not respect constitutional limits on presidential power. The audio recording in the classified documents case is really the smoking gun in all of this. It is Trump's own voice. Trump cannot dispute it. Trump cannot claim it is fake or taken out of context in any meaningful way. Trump was heard discussing classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. Trump was heard demonstrating he knew what he had in his possession. Trump was heard discussing the document with others. That is direct evidence of intent and knowledge. That is the opposite of Trump's legal defense. That is proof that Trump knew he had classified documents. And when that recording was presented in court, Trump's legal position collapsed. Trump's defense fell apart. Trump could see he was losing, and Trump responded by attacking the judge. That is the real story. That is what matters for understanding Trump and how he operates under pressure. All right, so let's break down what this actually means carefully and thoroughly. Trump was caught on audio discussing a classified government document in his possession years after leaving office. This is documented evidence. This is real. This is not speculation or theoretical. There is an actual recording of Trump's voice. Prosecutors presented that recording in court to the judge. That recording was absolutely devastating to Trump's entire legal defense because it showed Trump knew what he had in his possession. That recording showed Trump understood the document was classified or sensitive government material. That recording showed Trump discussing it openly and knowingly. That is direct evidence against Trump. That is the opposite of everything Trump's legal defense was claiming in court. Trump cannot say he did not know he had the documents when there is audio of Trump's own voice discussing the documents. Trump cannot claim ignorance when there is a recording showing Trump understood what he had. That is why the recording is so damaging. That is why it hurt Trump's case so badly. That is why Trump's legal position got immensely worse when prosecutors presented that recording to the court. That recording is objective evidence. That recording is irrefutable. That recording is Trump's own voice saying things that destroy his defense. Trump responded to this devastating evidence and to his deteriorating legal position by attacking the judge. Trump went on social media. Trump made inflammatory statements. Trump criticized the judge's rulings. Trump questioned the judge's fairness and impartiality. Trump tried to discredit the judge publicly. That is Trump's established pattern. That is how Trump responds to legal defeats. And this is a significant and serious problem because attacking judges is not an appropriate legal strategy. Attacking judges is not how the legal system is supposed to work. Attacking judges undermines the rule of law fundamentally. Attacking judges suggests that legal outcomes should be based on politics and public pressure instead of based on the law and evidence. Attacking judges violates the basic norms and rules of the legal system. You do not attack judges when you lose in court. You do not try to intimidate judges through public pressure. You do not try to discredit judges to influence future rulings. You present your case. You accept the ruling. You appeal if you have grounds for appeal. That is how the legal system works. But Trump does not follow that model. Trump attacks judges when he loses. That is not how a sitting president is supposed to behave in a democracy. This consistent pattern of Trump attacking judges reflects a broader and deeper problem with how Trump approaches the legal system and the Constitution. Trump does not respect the rule of law fundamentally. Trump does not respect judicial independence or the separation of powers. Trump does not respect the Constitution or its limits on presidential power. Trump sees the legal system as a political arena where he should be able to win through pressure and intimidation. Trump sees judges as obstacles to overcome rather than as independent arbiters of law. Trump tries to pressure judges through public attacks. Trump tries to discredit judges to undermine their credibility. Trump tries to turn legal cases into political narratives where he is the victim and the judge is the villain. But that is not how the Constitution works. That is not how democracy works. Judges are supposed to be independent. Judges are supposed to rule based on law and the Constitution, not based on politics and public pressure. Judges are supposed to be protected from pressure and attacks from litigants. That is fundamental to the rule of law. That is fundamental to democracy. But Trump is attacking judges. Trump is trying to intimidate judges. Trump is undermining judicial independence and the rule of law. The audio evidence in the classified documents case is particularly significant and damaging because it is direct evidence against Trump and his own voice on an actual recording. Trump cannot claim the evidence is fake or fabricated. Trump cannot claim the evidence is not credible or reliable. Trump cannot dismiss it as hearsay or someone else's interpretation. It is Trump's own voice on the recording. It is Trump discussing a classified government document. It is Trump at Mar-a-Lago after he left office. It is Trump demonstrating he understood what he had in his possession. That is absolutely devastating to Trump's legal defense in the case. That is why the evidence is so damaging and so important. That is why Trump's legal position got exponentially worse when prosecutors presented that recording to the judge. That evidence could not be argued away or reframed. That evidence is objective and irrefutable. And when Trump realized how bad the evidence was against him, Trump did what Trump does. Trump attacked the judge. Trump tried to make the judge look unfair. Trump tried to discredit the judge. Trump tried to shift the narrative away from the damaging evidence and onto judicial bias instead. That is Trump's response to evidence that hurts his case. The underlying truth here is that Trump has a very real and very serious legal problem. In the classified documents case, Trump was caught on audio. Trump was caught discussing classified documents that he kept in his possession at Mar-a-Lago. Trump was caught showing he knew what he had in his possession, and that recording is extremely damaging to Trump's entire legal defense. Trump cannot win in court if the evidence against him is that direct and that clear. Trump cannot claim innocence or ignorance when his own voice is on a recording discussing the classified documents he possessed. Trump's legal strategy is falling apart in the courtroom. And Trump is responding by attacking the judge instead of dealing with the evidence or accepting the legal consequences. That is not a legal strategy. That is not how someone who respects the rule of law behaves. That is an admission that Trump knows he is losing. That is Trump trying to distract from the damaging evidence. That is Trump trying to shift blame to the judge instead of facing what the evidence shows he did. This also matters because it shows exactly how Trump operates in his second term when facing legal challenges. Trump is facing serious legal challenges and criminal allegations. Trump is losing in court repeatedly. Trump is seeing evidence mount against him that is difficult to dispute or explain away. And Trump is responding not by accepting the rule of law or by working within the legal system. Trump's response is not to change his legal strategy or seek reasonable legal resolutions. Trump is responding by attacking judges and undermining the legal system itself. Trump is not respecting the Constitution or the separation of powers. Trump is not respecting judicial independence. Trump is trying to pressure judges through public attacks and inflammatory statements on social media. That is dangerous for democracy. That is dangerous for the rule of law. That is Trump saying that if he does not like a ruling, he will attack the judge. That is Trump saying the legal system should bend to his will regardless of the evidence and the law. That is not how America works. That is not how the Constitution works. That is not democracy. Trump was caught on audio discussing classified documents, and prosecutors used that evidence to systematically dismantle his legal defense, prompting Trump to attack the judge rather than accept the ruling. The pattern reveals a president who believes he is above the law, undermining judicial independence and the rule of law itself.